Hey, my name is Jack Nicholson and welcome to my YouTube channel. In this video, I want to talk about the shocking amount of landlords that are considering selling up. I'm going to tell you who has got this data and what are the reasons why landlords are looking to leave the market at the moment. This is going to have a big impact on the rental market. It's going to have an impact on rental prices, availability, and much, much more. So before we jump into this, if you haven't done already, do make sure you subscribe to the channel over there and hit that bell notification. We're on the way to 41,000 subscribers now. And let's get some more views on this video so people are aware of what's going on. How do we do that, you ask? Simple. Smash like, tickle like, do something to that like button. That helps with the YouTube algorithm. And then share the video, WhatsApp it, email it, or Facebook message it to somebody that you know would like to know what's going on in the market. So, what's going on? Well, it's been tough for landlords for the last few years. And look, I understand it's also been tough for renters as well. But landlords have had so many different angles that they've been getting hit by that a lot of them have already left the market. 30% of landlords have left the market already, and that reduces the private rental sector. Now, also, you've got immigration going crazy, and you've also got people living longer. The population of the UK is growing, but the rental market hasn't grown in real terms since 2016. That's a long time. And you think what the population was in 2016 compared to what it is now. Now, in Scotland, we've seen the rental market shrink even faster. And that has meant that when some Scottish people go to view a property, there can be 100 people going for that property. Now, you could have the best job in the world, the best references in the world, and easily be able to afford a property in Scotland and still struggle. So this is something that is a real concern for a lot of people. Now, Landbay is a lender that did a survey of thousands of their landlords. And Landlord is a specialist lender. They lend only on buy-to-let properties. I've got a couple of properties with them, one in Doncaster, one in Dorking, Georgia's properties, and my daughter, if you know who she is. And so Landbay have done a survey and it really isn't looking great. And while some people will say, good, let's get rid of landlords, that's not actually really what you want. Because if you get rid of more landlords, what will happen is big corporates or social housing providers or councils will own these properties and you won't really get anything fixed. If you look at who are the worst landlords, it's often local councils and local authorities. So in Landbay's survey, 35% of landlords want to quit. They're looking to quit the market right now. Either they're selling all the properties they've got or at least some of the properties that they've got. Now, why is that? Well, these are the main things that people are quitting for. First off, and the most common one, is something called Section 24. Now, Section 24 impacts you if you own property in your personal name, which most landlords do, because buy-to-let's been around for decades, and historically, it was easier to own it in your personal name. That's just how you did it. So Section 24 came in under the Conservatives, and what it meant was that you now get taxed on your gross rent. You can't deduct as many costs as you could. Now, in a normal business, let's say you're a plumber, you can deduct things like your petrol, you can deduct your marketing costs, your internet costs, your mobile phone costs, the cost of clothes, the cost of goods. But for rental, you can only deduct a small amount of stuff now. And that has been shrinking over the last few years. And it's one of the only businesses that happens to. Let's say, and as an example, you could have £1,000 in rent coming in. You could have a £500 mortgage coming in. Sounds great. £500 profit on paper there. But if that landlord is on a higher tax bracket, closer to the 50%, they've got to pay nearly 50% tax on that £1,000, and then they're breaking even or losing money if the boiler breaks or something happens or if there's a void. And so Section 24 is something that isn't really great for landlords. Now, if you buy a property, you should buy it in a limited company. That's the best way to do it going forward. What else is the problem? Next is another section, and this is section 21. This is a worry for a lot of landlords. I haven't been massively concerned about this because I've not really had bad problems with tenants, but it's the no-fault eviction. It means for any reason, you can get your property back. There's a new bill going through called the Renters' Rights Bill at the moment, and that's looking to potentially abolish section 21. I don't think it will be as bad as a lot of people make out, but that fear is still installed in some landlords that they won't be able to get their property back if their tenant is a problem, or they will. They would have to use something called a Section 8, which takes longer to go through the court. They wouldn't likely get paid the rent in that time, and the property could be getting more and more damage. So Section 21, the removal of it is worrisome for landlords. Another big reason that landlords said is the EPC stuff. Now, we've got some uncertainty on this because this isn't law yet. It's just talked about constantly, and it changes a lot. In November, Labour was saying they're bringing back that landlords have got to have an EPC level C or above to be able to rent their property by 2030. Now they've changed it that you would have to have that if you did a new tenancy in 2028, which isn't very far away. In November, they were saying you've got to spend a minimum of £10,000 to do it up. In January, that changed to £15,000. This is worrying landlords. They're not happy with this. And that is making some of them think they're going to get a massive bill that they maybe don't have the money for, and they want to quit the market because of that. So EPCs is a big concern. Next is interest rates. Now, while they're moving down, you do have some uncertainty. The trade war in America, or with America, has meant that some of their rates in America, their mortgage rates are actually going up at the moment. UK rates have dropped, and they potentially should continue to drop this year, but it has been volatile. Rates did go up for a lot of people to 6.5%. That worries a lot of landlords, and so that volatility really does mean some people are thinking, I miss the good old days of 0% rates or 1% rates, and they're worried that they're not going to come back, and potentially that wipes out a lot of their profit as well. So rates are problematic for a lot of landlords as well. And lastly is the Renters' Rights Bill. And so I think the Renters' Rights Bill has some great stuff in it. I think there's some really, really good stuff in there that protects tenants, gives them that stability to make a property their home. But some of these things, some landlords, I'm not saying it's right or wrong, they're not comfortable with it. The fact that you have to consider pets in there, that you have to consider people on benefits, there's lots of things like that. The fact that if a tenant if it's deemed that the property is mouldy, you could get fined £10,000 if you haven't dealt with it in a timely manner. These things are all things that concern people. And there are horror stories where judges, when it gets to court, say the landlord should have dealt with it quicker and didn't, and they get massive fines. So all of this stuff together means that there's a lot of landlords that just still want to leave the market. Now, if that does happen, like I said, who would take up the mantle? It would be councils and social housing providers who don't have the best as a track record as being landlords. If you look at the stories of councils, if you know somebody that has a council. So in Dorking, I'm in a Facebook group called We Love Dorking, right? And in that group, there's a council estate in Dorking called Goodwins. And in there are constant complaints about the council not fixing stuff, the social housing provider taking a year to come and fix stuff. And that's not what you want. That isn't what you want. I think you've got to have it fair on both sides to make a win-win for everybody. So that's what is happening. There are landlords that are concerned, that want to leave the market. What do you think? Let me know in the comments. Do you think more landlords should quit? How do we resolve this so it works for everybody? Do let me know in the comments your thoughts and opinions. And if you haven't checked out, the Fundamentals of Property Investing is on flash sale. at the moment. It's just £20. That will teach you how to find a property, how to get it below market value, how to refurbish the property, and then what strategy you should use to maximize your cash flow. Check that out in the description and do grab a copy of that. It's the cheapest price, and we've done that because we've hit 40,000 subscribers. Do also check out all the other content on the channel as well, including this video right here.